Hello and welcome to our time together for dinner with the doctor. This week we're going to be starting with the second and third reflections in Dr. Doss's book. Today we're going to be thinking about the Christmas story with that reflection of good news of peace. And the first thing that we want to cover today is kind of thinking about Caesar Augustus himself and the effect that he had on not only the Christmas story, but also throughout the region. So and this has this is way more in depth in everything that we do than we usually think. We kind of go through our lives in our regular Roman calendar, hitting June, July, August, and September. And if you've ever wondered why September, October, November, and December all are from the numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10, if you remember your geometry, your like middle school math, or even looking at a stop sign, you remember that an octagon has 8 sides, that a septagon has 7, that a decagon has 10. All of those things. Even so, when we say July, August, September, October, November, December, we're literally lining up the words for 7, 8, 9, and 10, and yet July and August are in the middle. And so when we write out those dates as numbers, it's 9 through 12. And that has to do with Caesar Augustus. Of course, July was named after Julius Caesar, the uncle of Caesar Augustus, the Caesar in our account from the Christmas story. That was done in 44 BC after his death, because July was the date of Julius Caesar's birth. And then this transition into August, that was done actually in 8 BC. So now we're only thinking about, this is just a couple of years before the birth of Jesus. And as Dr. Doss notes in the book, the idea of Caesar is not just a political ruler. Caesar would be the one in charge of what was called Pax Romana, or Roman peace, the idea that it was the Romans who could bring peace to the world. And that peace would, of course, be brought through force, because that is how the Romans could enforce it. It was peace through strength, not peace through kindness, or what gets us into the next section of this reflection, and that is where we're lifting up the lowly again. Now, this comes in, and this is what is so transformative about the Christmas story, in that the idea that everyone hearing this would have been familiar with was that idea of Pax Romana, the idea of peace through strength. And here we have a description, as Dr. Doss covers, in both Mary and Joseph's economic standing, in which he talks about the kind of hotels, how they would not have been in a commercial hotel, they may have been in a rented room, and how that reflects how the powerful people and the rich people coming to register would have taken all of those up and would have done that in advance. And that's why Mary and Joseph end up in their predicament. And it also gets put forth through the shepherds, because as you hear, Dr. Doss notes that shepherds were just above beggars in kind of social standing, and would have kind of been viewed as just as barely better than thieves. And shepherds were the ones who received the message of the birth. So in the last reflection, we heard about how women received the message, and of course this plays out in the resurrection again, and how many times women weren't counted as trustworthy sources. And now we have this class of people who are barely above thieves, entrusted with the message of the newborn king, of course, who is being born to a family who is lowly. And all of this would have been difficult to understand. And that's why toward the end, we hear about Mary pondering all of these things. She's still trying to figure it out. And just like the rest of us, we don't always figure it out right away. Okay, as Dr. Doss notes, she's perplexed when Jesus has to go to his Father's house and do work there. because she's not quite understanding how all of it fits together. And as we said, as he said, we have the ability to look back and see this all play out as part of a larger story. And that is the benefit that we have as Christians and as we look through this book devotionally together. So I pray that as you continue to read, you will find the insights that Dr. Doss has, the little historical nuggets here and there, useful for and edifying for your devotional life. So that concludes our reflection, our time together on this reflection. Almost said reflection on reflection. And we hope that you will join us again for the video on the third reflection that will be coming soon. May God bless you and your devotional time.